All right, welcome in. Episode 10 now of The Glue Guys. I'm Landen, that's Richard Lucas, and we have a good one.
Yeah, I'm excited because this is episode 10. And, I'm not sure if this is like, when you get married, you get 10, you get silver or something like that at episode 10 or at least year 10. So we should have thought about that and gotten something.
We should have. But this is a fun week. You're coming down to Arizona.
Yes.
We got the Super Bowl coming up. We got the UFC, some great fights in the UFC, and then the Phoenix Open's going on this week. I'll be there on Thursday and Friday. Have you seen that on TV before? I went yesterday to the practice rounds, and it's nuts.
It is. That thing is crazy when it's down there. But honestly, though, you listed a few reasons and why this is going to be a great weekend, and you forgot Isaiah. So
that's a part of you guys coming down here. I know you're not coming to see me or anything. It's to see little guy. I understand he wants to see Pops, but no, I'm excited. It'll be fun. I'm excited for this weekend. I'm excited to go watch the golf. I went the other day and I've never seen on a golf course clubs before, but there are clubs on the course where not golf clubs, dance clubs where they were playing music. I mean, it's nuts there. And that was for a practice round, so I can only imagine what it's going to be like once it gets started. I mean, people out here are ready to go drink and watch some golf, apparently. So
yes, and the weather's going to be great. Looks like it's going to be like perfect weather.
Well, I mean, it's Arizona. It's fantastic. It's except for the summer. But yeah, no, we got that UFC Super Bowl. Before we get started, I'm just curious, who do you have in the game on Sunday?
So, I'm a Southern California guy, and so I grew up as a Rams fan. As much as you can be a fan of a team when you don't really care, but you kind of care because you're, that's from where, that's a team that's local. So, I just feel like there's too much firepower on offense, too much on defense, with that line. I think they're going to have the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line can't stop anybody. So I think it's going to be a field day for Von Miller and those guys. So
I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going with Joey B.
Do you realize this is his first time? I mean, just think about this. I know it's the first time for a Super Bowl for what's his face as well, Stafford. Yeah. But Stafford's a vet. I've seen more pictures of Joe Burrow in the last 2 weeks than I have the year and a half that he's been, or almost 2 years. This guy is soaking up the experience, which he should, but I think it's going to be too much. I think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be. You're mistaken because this guy in big situations and all the way back to high school and then college. Did you see what he did to Georgia, to Alabama? I mean, he was lighting them up in the biggest stages. And then he comes out here and all through the playoffs has had big performances. I'm telling you, he's going to blow people away. He's going to win MVP, and he's going to just go down as a legend already. There's no stage bigger than this. And he's not going to be ready for it. So I feel a wager in our future.
Hey, you'll be here. It'll be fun. we can watch together and all that. But back to basketball, what we're here for. There were two pretty big games against Baylor and then Texas. One, again, just like the last episode, they go opposite ways. You got one that was really good and then one that wasn't as bad as the last loss, but, came down to the end. A few things they, didn't execute on and then resulted in a road loss to Texas. I want to start off with our sub in or sub out of today and ask you, are you subbing in or subbing out that the Baylor win, we learned more from the Baylor win than we did from the Texas loss?
So these sub-ins and sub-outs, the way they're worded is so hard to remember exactly.
Here it is. Are you subbing in that the Baylor game taught us more than the Texas loss?
Okay. So then I will sub out in that. I think the Texas loss teaches you more. And let's really think about it. Most of the time when you have a loss, that is going to give you that opportunity, better opportunity to learn. I remember there's times where teams are winning over and over and over again. They're on winning streaks and things like that. And coaches are like, man, this is great, but it's hard to, when you're just doing all the right things, it's hard to really have things to critique. You're going to say, you should have beaten them by 35 instead of 27 or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's tough. So I think what I'm seeing from between Baylor, in all honesty, felt almost like an anomaly. I mean, it felt like that wasn't truly the Baylor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it felt more of Baylor not showing up than Kansas crushing them, kind of thing. And so the whole game, in my opinion, was very much like not a normal thing. If that same two teams played again today, I don't think that the result's going to be similar. I think it would be a much closer situation. Maybe even Baylor wins. So, so I feel like you can't really learn too much from that because a bunch of people played and it was just a blowout, right? It was just different. The Texas game, though, it was a tight rotation. They had 5 players with 30 plus minutes. Mm-hmm. There's only one other player off the bench that had even double digits in play in minutes. And it felt like, up until now, KU's been really good at getting those last minute kind of situations where they get the bucket that they need, or they get, the play that they need, or the stop that they need to win a game. And it just felt like for this circumstance that, they were in the game. They were right there against a ranked opponent, on the road. And there was just a couple of things right toward the end that just they didn't execute. So I think that's when you can really learn from that and go, hey, if we do X, Y, and Z, I think the outcome could be better next time.
I'm going to disagree with you because we agree too much anyways. But I'm going to sub in and say that the Baylor game, we learned more from that. And the reason I say that is because what the Baylor game showed, for me at least for the first time, was the potential of this team. And we haven't really seen that throughout the season. There's been some close games. There's been some good games where they look good, but not to that extent. That was a team where if they play like that, especially healthy, there's not going to be many teams that are going to beat them on a day like that. And that's the potential as far as in the tournament, how deep they can run. I thought from all aspects, they played great defense, executed well on offense. Obviously, it helps to be at home with the Allen Fieldhouse crowd. That probably extended that lead, that game that probably could have been a little bit closer to just a complete blowout once you get the crowd into it and stuff. But that was the first time that I saw the team and was like, okay, that's the team that, when we have those guys on from the team or, that follow the team and they talk about this being a Final Four team, a team that can win the championship. That was the first time I saw it. And I think that you have to have those games to know what the potential is. And they've been, in these nail biters, these close games, they've been, scraping out wins, and this was the first time where they went out there, put the complete package together, put their foot on a team and finish the job. And I think that that's important moving forward. That's going to be something you can, look back on. I think the Texas game, yeah, you can learn from small situational stuff, but they've been in a ton of these close games. And I think that Baylor one, for me at least, I learned more about this team because I was able to see where this team's potential was, and that's without Remy. And I think that, that showed me if they can play up to that potential, they do have a chance to go deep in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely. I do see your point there. I guess my biggest thing is that, with that Baylor game, it just felt, I mean, Kansas, it was when you're watching it, yes, it could have gotten a little closer, but it just felt like like Baylor just wasn't there almost. Like they just didn't come to play.
And I've said that before, where when you play a team at Allen Fieldhouse, it sometimes feels like a different team. You know, like when they hit you, it just doesn't feel the same. When you hit them, you know, it feels like a different team because of the atmosphere. And I understand that. But they won. I mean, they were up 30-something points. That's not that, you know, I could give Allen Fieldhouse credit for 15 of those, but for the most part, they dominated that game. I think even at a neutral site, that's a easy win from start to finish. The way they were playing defense, they were forcing tough shots. Obviously, Baylor wasn't making anything, but they were forcing some really tough shots, and they were getting in great positions. What we talked about is they're just small steps off here and there. They weren't that night, you know, or that day. They were in the right positions, playing the right type of basketball on defense and offense. And, you know, I understand that was probably an extreme version because of everything, but I wouldn't take it away from the fact that we, you know, completely ran over a team where a few weeks ago, that was the clear-cut number one team in the country.
Yeah. Well, I you know, you make some valid points for sure. I guess my biggest thing is that it just, you know, the question was, you know, did you learn more from? And to me, you know, or I should say, did us watching it, you know, yes, I think you're right. So maybe my interpretation of the question was, as a coach, am I sitting down going, okay, I have my team here and I have these two games, Exhibit A and Exhibit B. Which one am I going to show them and really kind of break down and really try to go through and see how we can get better? You have to remember, you can't take Allen Fieldhouse with you. so not everything is going to be perfect. And they did great. They did great. It's almost like, yes, you're supposed to do those things that happened in Baylor. But
you're supposed to blow out Baylor by 30 points?
No. I said you're supposed to do the things that led to the blowout. So just because Baylor sucks, that doesn't mean that you're supposed to blow people out of it. You don't teach people to be mediocre. You teach them to do exactly what they're supposed to do. So when you don't do the things, which is 99.9% of the time, that's when you have an opportunity to help and correct and figure those things out. But
well, let me ask you about the Texas game.
Yes.
You know, because we did learn some stuff, especially towards the end. One of the big things that I saw at the very end was the play that was ran, and you know, Coach Self is notorious for having amazing out of timeout plays, especially in big situations. He always got us some kind of good shot. Yeah. There was a pretty simple, you know, Ochai's inbounding the ball. There's a pin down action where he comes up and apparently the play was for David, which, you know, I'm not shocked by. I mean, like,
I mean, he does that a lot.
They've done that for me, and I wasn't the scorer that even David is. And so, you know, I know that he likes to go to that. I had two problems with it, though. One, in the past, in these close games, they haven't gone to David. He hasn't really, I mean, he may have been in the game, but that wasn't the option they were looking for in the close games. The ball was in Ochai's hands, and he either got the assist or took the shot. And in those situations, I believe they were 4 for 4. And so they come back to this situation, and the two things was, one, I would have liked to at least, even if you're going to go inside, see Ochai maybe get a touch of the ball. And then one of the ways you could help that is by screening this guy who's been all over him all night. And I think that there was a little bit of a misstep there because nobody got a body on his guy. So even if the play was for David, I would have liked to see more of a threat to Ochai because essentially he didn't set his man up. David didn't set a screen, and he's running as a non-threat out to the wing. And that's not what I would want in that situation. And that's for me. But you're the coach, the former coach. You've been in those situations. What did you see there? And do you agree with the play call, the execution? What would you have changed about that, you know, at the end of the Texas game?
Well, first of all, we're sitting here trying to question Hall of Fame coach Bill Self.
Trust me,
I mean, come on now.
What he's doing. He knows what he's doing. But sometimes, sometimes there's a misstep. We all make mistakes.
I mean, come on. He's been in these exact circumstances probably more times than we could think. So, I understand what was the reasoning behind it. And if you think about it, the idea of going inside, because, no matter how good somebody has been from the perimeter, where are your easiest opportunities to get a bucket or draw a foul? And that's going to be getting the ball inside to the big guy and get it on a nice angle and getting the bucket. And that's typically where, when you're like, hey, I just need a bucket. If you think about it too, his out of timeout, and the reason why he's so good about it is think about how often his after timeout, out of timeout plays are often plays that finish right at the rim. Mm-hmm. Right? Are there plays that are, hey, I'm popping somebody out for a deep three? It's not usually. It's usually some sort of a back door, some sort of a back screen, or something where the action is going to the rim. And so I think that's kind of really the mentality behind that is, let's get that ball inside and hopefully get a bucket. But if not, David was playing well enough.
Yeah, he's playing great.
Been lately.
Yeah,
that continues to be kind of the bread and butter, where it's supposed to draw that attention. That if he is not available and able to get that bucket, he's able to kick it out, and hopefully somebody has a wide open shot, so that Ochai doesn't need the screen or anything, because his man turns around and starts to head direction of David. So in the end, I just think having the ball in the hands of your best player is typically the way you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think that showing more of threat of that at least. And, I think Coach Self was onto some for sure going inside. But I found it interesting because if you look back at it, there were the two times where Christian hit the three-pointer. I think it was against Oklahoma. And then Harris had the little scoop hook against, I believe it was Texas Tech. Or no, not Tech. It was before that. But anyways.
Blending together.
There were those two big shots. Those were both off of actions where Ochai had the ball and made the decision to get them the ball. There's two right there. And then the other two were both Ochai, Kansas State, floater, and then I think it was Tech where he hit the big shot. But those are situations where he had the ball in his hands and a say of it. And I know that this guy was just glued to him the whole game. Yeah. But I would have liked to at least see him, be more involved in the play. But again, like you said, we're talking about a guy who's been in that situation a ton of times. Yeah. And the best part about it is, you did allude to it in the sub in, sub out. You do learn from games like this. And maybe he did take something away from this moving forward to say, all right, well, let's not do that.
And that's exactly right. 100%. That could have been, we don't know, but that could have been part of this, is that, win or loss, this game truly means nothing, right? If you really think about it, they're still going to win the conference. They're still going to be ranked high. I mean, a loss on the road to a Chris Beard coach team, Chris Beard, who led Texas Tech to the national championship, on the road by a last-second shot, that to me is not going to
change. A bank shot at that too.
Exactly. That's not going to take anything away. So it might have been coach's way of saying, hey, if we are in the Elite Eight and this exact situation comes up, can we rely on the big fella to get us a bucket, or let's run this and see if this works? So it could very well have been something like that.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Well, there's some big games coming up, and we can dive into that a little bit after, but I want to go ahead and get Elijah on. So let's bring Elijah on and speak with him a little bit. All right, before we move on to this next segment, I want to tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at Bet Rivers. If you haven't already signed up by now, which you should have after listening to all these, you should go do that, because they're offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. But what sets them apart is that they only require one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. Make sure to go today to betrivers.com or download the BetRivers app. You must be 21 years or older, and if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLE.
Can we make a bet on that you can do that without ever looking at anything?
Oh, I could if I want. Sure.
Let's make a bet on that.
I'll try that next time. I'll try it next time.
Because I don't think you can do it without looking at it. So that's the bet, I think.
Let me try it right now. Hey, welcome everybody. Before we move on to the next welcome, see, I already messed up.
You messed up already, so I win. So let's figure out exactly how much it is, and what it, or maybe it doesn't have to be money. It could be something, and that I don't.
Let me tell you this about my memory. When I was younger, there was a competition in school where you had to remember pi, and I remembered over like 100 and something numbers.
Without for the pi, for the 3.14.
Yeah. So I have the ability to if I need to, but I haven't yet for this. But I will. Moving on, I will. But make sure you guys go to Bet Rivers, and Super Bowl coming up. This is a good spot and good time to do that. Big Lives, what's up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm chilling, man. You look good.
Thank you. So do you. Tell us a little bit. We haven't caught up for a while. What's been up? Since leaving Kansas. Why don't you start there for everybody? What have you been doing? What's your basketball career been like? And then now what you're doing with just 42-15 and all that.
Well, first of all, Landon, I want to tell you it's good to see you, bro.
Good to see you.
For real. We getting older, man. It's good to see you. But yeah, I just grinded it up, man. Tried that league route. That didn't work. It sent me overseas. I played for like 7-8 years over there. My wife, for those that don't know, she played at KU too, Natalie Knight.
Oh, yeah.
And she started to coach. She got into the coaching lane while I was still playing. So when I came back home, I really just kind of followed up behind her. And that's just what we've been doing. And it turned into training and just opening our own facility. So now we got our own gym. We got like 8 teams and growing. So looking to get into just stay in that lane. And I'm also coaching at the collegiate level at Mid-America. I started doing that this year. So that was fun to get my feet wet with that. But, yeah, man, just trying to get into that coaching lane. It's fun. I see what Coach meant when he used to yell at us now.
Yeah, right.
I get it now, man. I get it now. I get it. So
you're saying that I'm Richard, by the way. I don't know if we officially had ever met or not.
This is my dad.
I can't see. I only see you, Lando.
For real?
For real?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
let me see it. Maybe it's me.
It's okay. You don't need to see me.
Yeah, you don't.
I just feel like it's respectful if I.
No, I hear you. That's okay. Well, I'm over here as well, but he's the beauty. I'm the brains behind this whole operation. But so you talked about playing overseas, and so I played overseas. Landon played overseas. What were the countries that you played at, and was there one in particular that you enjoyed the most during your time?
Yeah, I bounced around. I played Germany, Spain, Italy. I said Spain. I didn't play in Spain. Germany, Italy, Croatia, Israel, Turkey, Poland. I bounced around. My favorite spots, I think, had to be Israel and I would say Turkey, but Israel overall. Just the style of play, the understanding. They think more like us as Americans. They didn't really try to control us. They let us do our thing. The food, they spoke English well. Like I really enjoy Israel overall, like on and off the court. It was cool.
What would you say you took the most from your time at Kansas and from Coach Self? I know now you're getting into coaching a little bit and you've been working, with kids as well. You said that you understand why he was yelling at us and stuff, but what would you say that stuck out the most to you, that when you're in these situations that you go like you recall back to that more than often, you think back to?
Honestly, Lando, I would probably say when Coach had those moments, it happened like once a year. But every year when you had those moments where stuff is just bad, and
every year
do about it,
yeah.
It's just bad. Even if you winning games, it's just stuff just not good. Stuff just not flowing. It's that turbulent time of the year. Now, as a coach, I see how hard it is to be the person to try to get everybody back into it, man. Mm-hmm. Like, we used to just go to our dorms and complain about coach complaining. Mm-hmm. But, like, we never really slowed down and just say, like, dude, we could really just lock in, and change it. So it was more of, in our control than his. So now I'm realizing that as a coach, I'm trying to tell him, like, just do it. Just do it for me, just come on, just go do it. And when they don't do it, man, it really drive me crazy, man. So that's one thing that I would say I relate to the most, that I look back on, and I'm just like, I get why Coach was the way he was, man. He had to make it feel like it wasn't optional.
We would go through that every year. It felt like, we would go through the down, and by the time I was a junior, senior, you almost expected it. And then, we were helping Coach out, trying to tell the younger guys, like, this happens. This is going to come and go. We're going to eventually be back to normal.
Yeah.
And would always happen, like, in the middle of the season, middle of Big 12 play or something, where you would go through that situation. And, it's interesting to hear you bring that up, because I haven't thought about it from Coach's perspective, where, he's the one that really has to lead us out of that.
But he the one who got his hands tied, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he can't go out there and do it for us.
Right.
They closed that field house up. He showed us everything that we were going to possibly see in the game. Mm-hmm. Coach never sent us into the game and didn't tell us everything to expect. So I get it from that point of view. It's like, I told you what to do. I told you what to expect. Y'all knew what was going to happen. And especially the one that really get me, Landen, is the one where he say, I don't have to worry about getting y'all up for the North Carolina game or Kentucky. He's like, I worry about, the school that y'all don't care about. I see what he mean, man. Those are my closest games now. The teams you think that you just going to blast. So, yeah, it's different looking at it from this side of the tracks, man. I try to relate to the players more. I try to stay like a player coach. Mm-hmm. But, man, as you get older and older, it's like you just look at them and you like, it's simple, So that's all I got on that.
You realize now those players go back to their homes and they're back there calling, texting each other about you, telling them about, oh, man, what's he doing? What's he thinking? That's
exactly.
That's
I'm the bad
coach.
guy now.
You're the bad guy. So tell me, how did you come up with the name? Just 4215.
Well, my wife wore 42 at KU, and I wore 15. We were doing the workouts, and we were trying to come up with a website, just to put us to make it more official. And we tried to go for 4215, and it was taken. So we went through all of these domains. We looking, and we just reading them off. And one of them said just 4215, and she just kept going, oh, hold on. Go back to that one. I like that.
Yeah.
That's 4215, and that's just how it happened. And we liked it. We rocked with it. We came up with 5 different logos. We got some gear with it. People fed into it. They liked it, and it just kind of took off.
Well, last week there was that big game at Iowa State, and every time we go to Iowa State, there's always those highlights and those videos of big lives going out there and dropping, almost 40 on them. Leading the big win out there. I want to just hear from you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what you remember from that game, the memories you still have now, and just tell us from your perspective what it was like to go into that hostile environment. When I say hostile, I mean Coach was getting attacked afterwards. I know you were most hated in Ames for a while. What was that like? And tell the fans a little bit about your experience with the Iowa State game.
Well, I'll tell something that I don't think I've ever said publicly. Mm-hmm. I'll go ahead and I feel comfortable.
Okay, yeah. Hey, we get the exclusive.
I got you, Lando. I got you. So for me, this is my senior year. I know the road games that are really hard versus what the fans think are hard. Like the fans wanted Missouri and Kentucky and Kansas State to be difficult games for us. But that wasn't always a difficult game. But going to Iowa State was always hard.
Yep.
It was always hard to play there because they always could shoot it. Stuff that other people don't know. Their floor was terrible. Something people don't know. Stuff like that. You sliding all over the place. So it was a lot of little stuff that I knew going into that Iowa State game. It was going to be a different game. And I knew Coach good enough at that time, my senior year, to know when he was locked in. And he was locked in. Yeah. But we didn't have everybody else with that understanding. So he started by picking on me and shoot around. And my knee was already bothering me. He said something to me about a small detail that he knew I knew, but it was one of them things like, no, do it the right way. But I'm like, Coach, I know I got you. I did it, but I guess it wasn't fast or whatever. So he already poking at me early in the morning. And you know how that is, Lando.
That early shoot around.
It's early. People think it start at the game. No. Coach, it can start early in the morning. It can start early. So in my mind, I'm like, and then we get through the shoot around, all that stuff. We get to the hotel, we eat. We get to the game's going. And something small again happened. I made a decision that was, debatable, could have went one way or the other. And Coach said something to me, and this, we was in the timeout. And Coach called me or whatever. He tried to take me out the game, and I just basically was like, I'm not coming out. Like, I see no reason to come out. And I just remember leaving out of the timeout in a rage. Like, he tried to send Nadir in for me. I think I, got up early and walked on the court or something. I did something that I wasn't supposed to do. And I just remember going out there thinking to myself, all right, I'm trying to make the right play, and he's still on my ass. So you know what? I'm finna just shoot it every time. I'm not passing it no more, bro. I'm not passing it no more. And if you watch that game and when me and Coach got into it, then you'll know. Like, I started shooting shots that I normally would kick those, but I just started shooting it. And the weird part about that game, though, y'all, and this is something I never told anybody. I never knew how many points I had until Travis came and told me.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I was locked in. Like, Lando, I had no clue I had 20-some points. Trav ran up to me. He was like, Lodge, you going crazy. You going crazy. And when he said it, he looked up at the scoreboard. You might be able to see that on film. I've never watched the game. I watched it once from beginning to end. Somebody put it on before. But I remember when he said it, and I looked up, and I'm like, how the hell I got 26 or 20? I didn't even know I had that much, bro. So I don't remember much from that game. I just remember being mad at Coach, and I remember the fan attacking Coach. I remember talking to Holly Rowe, and I remember telling myself, I was looking at that fan. If that fan would have touched Coach, man, and I feel comfortable saying this, I would have whooped his ass on that court if he would have touched Coach, bro. I feel comfortable saying. Back then, I felt like I had to, be. But if he would have touched Coach, bro, I would have whooped his ass on that court. Excuse my language, but running up on Coach like that was weird. We were doing a Sports Center or ESPN interview, and this guy's running up on Coach. Coach had no clue what was going on. So that's what really stuck with me the most. And then when I got in the locker room, y'all attacked me. It was just a lot going on, man. We needed that game. It was a lot going on. It was a day to remember for sure.
And the story about you, not subbing out and stuff. Coach Self likes that kind of stuff.
Right.
He likes that in a weird way. He wants you to challenge him a little bit and want that moment and stuff. And so, part of him was probably like, all right, go out there and do your thing then. And for you to take over, I remember when you started just going unconscious there at the end, it was some of the shots you were hitting. I mean, you were just like, let me just get the ball, and you were facing the other way. And then I'm just going to pull up, turn in midair, launch that up. And it was just, everything was going in. And that was, for me, that was so fun to watch, and a game that I'll always remember because if I'm not mistaken, that was big for the league race. I think that we needed to win that, or it was something with winning the Big 12 that game we had to have. And without that performance, I don't think we come out of there with the win. So that's one I'll remember for sure, and a fun one that I know the fans always love to talk about.
I never thought about it like that, man, because I know we needed that game. That's why Coach was on us like that. But I never thought about it like that. If we would have dropped that game, I don't know if we would have.
No, streak may be over. Streak may have been over on that one. And
I never looked at it like that. I feel all right. I feel better about that game. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I'm sure that Coach, like Landen said, Coach like to be challenged like that, but you got to back it up too.
Yeah.
So you can't challenge and then go up there
and
go out there.
The first couple shots too, though, y'all. I think I missed the first couple. Like a couple floaters or something like that, but I kept going. I kept going. See, the weird thing is he liked that challenge, but it's you got to be careful with it because he did to Markeith and Marcus my sophomore year, and it wasn't fun. It was one of them challenges whereas it was like, all right, y'all, just step off the court, please. He killed. But the Twins wouldn't get off the court. He just kept running us, Land. He just kept running us the whole time.
I've seen that before.
It was bad. So sometimes those challenges are good to accept, but like you said, if you're going to accept it, you better be ready to go do something. I remember walking on that court before he could take me out. Like, that's all I remember. I don't remember looking back at him. I don't remember looking for a confirmation. I didn't care at that point. I think T tried to say something to me too, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to talk. I'm out. I'm going on the court. So yeah.
So I
want to ask you a question. Is it? I'm sorry. I don't want to.
No.
I want to ask Landen. What's your favorite from your years there, man? Because you was there. What? Tell me. What was one of the moments? Was it like the first years were the best years for you because you were more in shock? Or did you experience some stuff that was better once I left? Like, what was it like for you?
For me, it was definitely the last few years, and that's just because I like to have a say in things. I'm sure you're like this too. Like, win or loss, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of it if it's a loss. I want to be a part of it if it's a win. And I want to have some kind of role in it. And my junior and senior year, I was able to do that, and into my sophomore year as well. But, that was fun for me because in those big moments, those big situations, I just want to have a say in things. I want to be able to go out there. And early on, it was tough because I didn't have the opportunity to do that. And so, I would say later on, and there were some fun ones, man. After you left, we had the triple overtime game with Oklahoma, that 1 versus 2. I don't think I've ever seen a game with hype. The Missouri game, that's one that hype built up, and I was on the visit for the Missouri game that you were in. But there's all this hype, and then you go in there, and then the fans leave there with everything that they expected and more. And that 1 versus 2 game against Oklahoma, where Buddy Hield went for 40-some, triple overtime, that was crazy. The West Virginia comeback was crazy. I mean, there were so many times where I can remember these big, crazy games that in the moment you're just trying to get the win. And then you're looking back on it, it's like, damn, like that's a fun story. I remember during COVID, they kept showing past reruns of games and stuff.
Yeah.
Games were on, and I was watching it like, man, that was fun that I got to be a part of that, and so that's what I'll say is later on in my career, I'm happy that I was able to extend my role to the point that I could, because I could have an impact on those games similar to like what you did on Iowa State. Like, that streak may not be there without you. And you can tell your kids and your grandkids about that moving forward. And that's something that, is very special. And no matter what happened after Kansas with basketball and whatnot, like that was to be a part of that, the stories for life,
The one for me is the championship game.
Oh, yeah. I remember watching that. That was fun.
That one was crazy. The reason that one really stood out to me, Landen, is because when you plan or you in the moment, you don't get a chance to really realize you don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance to realize what was happening because they put the Final Four stages. They make it like a stage, so it's elevated. Mm-hmm. So the crowd is like all at your feet. That's close.
Yeah.
So they had one play where I think Deron Lamb throw the ball to Anthony Davis on the elbow or something, and they do like some handoff. And they did it, and I saw it. And they did it again. And I told myself, I said, if they run that play again, I think they just did it once. I said, if they run that play again, I'm going to get it, because he had his back to me. I ran up behind him, stole the ball. I'm going on a fast break dunk. Anthony Davis chasing me down. I leave early so he can't get to me. I left early so he couldn't even, he at the free throw line when I took off. And I dunked it. I land on the ground and I'm running back. As I'm running back, that was how long it took for the sound to get to me of the crowd going crazy. It took that long for me to hear it. And that's when I just took a second and I looked around, dude. It was so many people in there, dude. It was, I think it was like 100,000 or something like that.
It was a ton. Yeah, you guys had a ton there. And those things, I mean, like that moment there, like people don't get to experience that. You know, I remember walking onto the court. I think it was, I forgot what game it was, but it was a close game. And it got so loud I think it was Kentucky, in the field house, I couldn't hear my thoughts. And I remember being on the court like, man, like this is an experience that like not many people get to do this and then go out there and perform, you know, and do something that you love. And so, I mean, I love that you bring that up, and it's something that I'll always remember too, for sure.
Absolutely. Especially that field house, man. That field house get rocking.
It's different.
That Missouri game, we could not hear each other. I remember the last time out, Coach said we're going to run chop. And I don't even know if Coach remember this, but I told Coach, like, Coach, I'm going to throw the back door to Tyshawn. It's going to be open. Or I told Ty. And then Coach was like, let's do it. And I remember once we walked on the court after we agreed to it, I think Tyshawn was trying to ask me something about it in detail, and I couldn't hear him. So I was just in my mind, I'm like, I hope we on the same page, because whatever you trying to say to me, bro, I know we right here, but I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you, Ty. And it ended up working out the back door, and we got that dunk, but it get loud, bro, in that field house. That field house is different.
Man, well, my dad has a meeting, unfortunately, he has to get to. But let me say this. We loved having you on, and I would love if you would come back on one of these episodes. Even if we have guests on every week. We talk to coaches, former players and stuff. If you could even join for one of them, we could talk more about it. You could ask them questions. We could all chat some more. But we would love to have you on again when we have a little bit more time and keep this conversation going.
Absolutely, man. Hit me up, Landon, whenever you need me. Whenever.
All right, man.
All right.
Have a good one, man. We'll stay in touch. See you. All right. Well, I know I had to cut that short, and Elijah, he's so fun to talk to. We could have talked for another hour, and I would love to have him on again with some of the other guests. But I know you got to go soon.
I know. But I will say, you know, this is the part that I enjoy doing this show with you, but I do enjoy hearing those stories. And I think a lot of the people who do listen enjoy that as well. This is behind the scenes stuff that is, as a fan
never
of the
heard
game,
before about him leaving, not subbing out of the game. That's what
exactly. I mean, that's cool stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. And if you like the content of what you're seeing, please click the subscribe button or follow us, and also leave a comment as well of what you'd like to see more of or less of. You know, we're just getting this thing. We're at number 10, but we want to continue to do this, you know, as we continue to grow. So let us know what you think.
Yes. And we'll be back again next week, and make sure we'll get Elijah on for sure. I'll talk with him, and we'll get him on again one of these episodes and finish the conversation. I know could have kept going and going, but you got real world work and stuff. I mean, come on, man. I'm gonna go to the golf course. You could go ahead and go do your
exactly.
work.
I have meetings all day, and you're gonna be in the golf course. Something's not fair here. That's all right.
Man. Well, I will see you this weekend, and then we got some good Kansas games against Oklahoma State. And then we'll be back again next week with a new episode for you guys.
Sounds good.
See ya.